Hey, and welcome to the channel. I'm going to be doing a track guide for Road America. I'm not the fastest by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of the few tracks that I know fairly well. So I'm going to give it a shot and let me know what you think. So I'm going to do something a little different than track guides I've done in the past for friends. I'm going to do one lap slow, just to give a little bit more time to explain what's going on and what my line of thinking is, and sort of point out some of the small details of Road America. So the big thing with Road America is that unlike a lot of tracks in iRacing, especially like Spa, you can use pretty much all the runoff in that's provided to you in the corners, and in a lot of places it's hugely beneficial. And not only that, in a lot of corners you can go into the grass and you're fine. It's not always the fastest, but if you're squeezing by somebody, you can definitely use some grass and not getting off track. So you'll see just complete use of the curbs in these laps. Okay, so for the first corner, I'm looking for the cones on the left-hand side. There's going to be a marker with three cones. If I'm being a little conservative, I'm going to be braking before them. If I'm pushing for a fast lap like in qualifying, I'm going to be getting as close as possible to those three cones before I start braking. So those are the three cones. We're braking. We're downshifting into third. We're trying to use this little tiny bit of track on the outside if we're going for a qualifying lap. Otherwise, we're just going to stay straight. We're going to start turning in, again, using all of the curbing on the inside. You don't want to hit the grass on this one. And then using all of the curbing on the outside, even onto the gray part. It's okay if you dip your wheel on the exit there as you're getting off of the curbs. You won't get an off track. Okay, so for corner two, second gear corner, there's going to be a little bit of a dip right after this white line. You can kind of see it, hopefully, if the encoding doesn't butcher it. There's a little bit of a dip in the road, and you want to try and use that compression to get the braking going. And I would say it's right around like 33%, 66%, 50% after the two board. So it's right around there that you want to start braking down into second gear. It's a pretty late turn in. Again, using all of the curbs on the inside and all of the curbs on the outside. Making sure that you get a really good run down this straight. Big thing to Road America with the long straights is obviously you want to be able to get on the gas, carry as much speed through the corner, and get on the gas as soon as possible to give you the best chance of getting a good run down the straight. Especially true if you are trying to pass somebody. Okay, so for this corner, it's the same thing as last corner. There's going to be a little dip in the road right here, right about 25% to go until the two board, which would make it like 75% after the three. And you're going to want to use that to start shifting down. If I'm really pushing for qualifying, I'm probably trying to push the braking zone to about here, but it can get pretty hairy if you're not absolutely precise on the brakes. Again, it's one of those key differences that separates the aliens from me, is that I can do that maybe once a week. They can do it, every lap. Okay, so apex for this corner is on the inside. You can, if you notice, there's a little bit of a dip on the inside there. You can take that little dip and you can get a little bit more rotation out of the corner, out of the car through the corner, especially if you're trying to pass somebody on the inside there. It can be useful to go through there. You won't get an off track. The key, though, is that if you hit that grass and you try and get on the gas too hard, too early, you're gonna end up getting a lot of oversteer, and you may even experience some snap oversteer and just send the car sideways. So just if you're hot lapping or just getting through the laps, I would recommend using the curbs for sure, but I wouldn't recommend going into that dip. If you do, just be careful on the gas. So same thing here as always. You can use all of this on the outside. Just make sure you get back on the track before it ends. All right, the uphill left-hander. A lot of people will spin out here, and what essentially happens is it's basic physics. You're going up a hill, you crest the hill, and the car wants to shoot. It wants to take off. It wants to keep going up. So as the weight lifts off the road, you're obviously going to get a lot less friction on the surface, which means your braking isn't going to be as useful. So I think the key here really is to actually brake a little lighter and brake a little earlier, and just try and maintain the momentum without locking up the car. Because if you lock up the car, you're going to shoot off to the side there. Again, use all the curbing on the inside, all the curbing on the outside. It's a second gear corner. So this corner is a really easy slight lift. You're probably shifting up into fourth. You're going to lift and turn in to get that rotation. Use all the curbing, and exit down into the setup for the carousel. So here you're trying to push the braking point to about 2.25, 2.3, 2.4, somewhere around there. Again, depending on how hard you're pushing the lap. Aliens will probably go a little further than that. Second gear corner, looking for the inside. Use the little dip there. I don't know if you noticed the car kind of like does a little dip into the corner because there's a little bit of a hole. You actually want to try and use that as much as possible because it's gonna allow the car to squat a little bit and maintain higher average speed through the corner. All right, so setting up for the carousel. I find it my best times are usually I'm entering mid track, and I'm kind of just keeping a nice wide angle without going too far out because you end up getting into the marbles and you end up understeering off the track. So right around here is where I will start lifting. It might maybe a little bit earlier, and I'll lift and maybe downshift into third, and then I'll downshift back up to fourth for the exit of the corner, where you want to just smoothly unwind the wheel, maybe hit the inside a little bit, and use all the curbing on the outside. Okay, so the kink, the death zone for first lap incidents, right? You on the entrance, you definitely want to be on this curbing because you want to. Obviously, if the kink is there, you want to make the track as wide as possible and get all the runoff you can and widen that apex as much as possible, or widen the radius, sorry. So this is like a fifth gear into sixth gear corner, and I'm going to be slight lifting. You can take it full gas depending on your setup and depending on your bravery. Might hit the curbing on the inside a little bit. I wouldn't take too much of the curbing. It's one of the rare rare times that you don't use the curbing. Use all the curbing on the outside. It's okay if you dip a wheel. It's not going to be great though. You could definitely risk spinning there, and that's how a lot of people end up spinning. They dip a wheel, they try and correct, they overcorrect, and they spin across the track. Okay, so for this corner, I'm braking right around 3.5, 3.4. If I'm trying to pass somebody and I'm really pushing, or if I'm pushing for a really fast qualifying time, I'm going to start pushing that braking zone towards the 3 board. But you have to be, the farther you push the braking, the more precise you have to be on the brakes. And in a 6-hour race, that's not always the greatest idea. Maybe if you're doing hot laps towards the end and you're feeling good, sure. Or if you're just an alien and you can do it, that's great. All right, so second gear corner, again, using all the curbing on the inside. You can take grass there. I don't recommend it. I find it to be slower because you end up not being able to get on the gas as early. You can use all this curbing on the outside, but there's dirt on the outside of that, so you don't want to use too much of it. And then you're basically just setting up for these curbs. You want to I take all the curbs I can on here. And if I'm feeling good, it'll be full gas. Otherwise, I'll slightly lift. And you can go all the way out here if you need to. I tend to not go that far because I'm a little slower. And then for the last corner, which is probably one of the most important corners on the track because it sets you up for the straight, there's this weird piece of pavement here that is like slightly darker than everything else. And you basically want to brake somewhere in the middle of it, depending on your confidence level and how you can deal with the change of the track surface after you get off of it. So in here, the braking feels fine, and then you hit this little bump here, and the car just like, it sort of like does this little weird resettling, and the track surface feels a little bit like slimier, grimier, dustier, whatever you want to call it. So I tend to take it a little bit more conservative and brake a little earlier in the dark zone. If you're pushing for a qualifying lap, push that a little further. Second gear corner for me. And you basically want to just use all the curbing on the inside. And you're going to use all the curbing plus the gray on the outside. And then it's just the long run into first corner. So that's Road America, slowly. Now we'll do it a little faster and see what comes of it. Hopefully we can put in a decent time. Good times for me are in the 202s for a quali lap. Full fuel, I'm in the 203s. So down into third, taking things just a little easier just to get the line. Looking for that dip. A little early there. There's actually two dips. There's a small dip and a bigger dip. I braked at the first dip. When I'm going fast, I'll brake at the second dip. So same thing here. We're looking for the dip on the right-hand side right before the two board. Try and use all the curbing we can. Make that corner super wide. Light braking. And then it's turn and coast, and then back on the brakes as soon as you can. Shift into fourth and coast. Whoop. Put the grass on the inside and lost traction a little bit. Right before the two board, down into second. Looking for the inside there. Mid-track entry. Shift up to fourth. Then I'm going to lift, brake, and then go down to third. And then back up to fourth. Slowly unwind the wheel as much as possible. Lift, turn in, back on the throttle. That was a very heavy lift. As I get up to speed, the lift will become less and less. Look for seventh gear, find that it's not there, downshift into second. You can see you can use you can go on the grass there, but you're just not going to be able to get on the gas fast enough. Cut across. Don't go up to fifth, just stay in fourth and ring it out. Turn in, get on the gas as soon as possible. All right, we're trying to get this lap done, and we'll try and start pushing the brake zones a little bit and see how fast we can go. A little rusty, so bear with me here. That was a 206. See if we can do a 203. Wave hi to the Sargento truck. Maybe making pizza later. Unfortunately, they removed the Johnsonville bridge, the carousel. That was really early. So I'll just modify my braking a little bit. Probably lift a little less through there and turn a little more. I struggle through this section of the track the most. I'll just take it nice and easy. Car gets a little loose on the exit. Just want to try and keep the wheel nice and smooth as possible. In the sixth, light lift. So you can see there my turn-in was a little weird, and I had to lift as a result of that. I didn't get the traction on the turn-in that I wanted through the kink. Slight lift through there. So you can see once you start to push the braking zone into that last corner, you end up getting into the marbles on the left-hand side, and what ends up happening is after you get off of the darker patch, you just lose traction and you end up locking the brakes. So there's a 2033. You can see in the squigglies there that I was trying to manage the steering wheel inputs on the exit there, and just hit the rev limiter, which is not good. So we can push even later than that. You can see we gained some time there and then lost it. It's okay though. Oh, that was wide. Not super comfortable through carousel. You can see there that I didn't downshift into third, which seemed to help a little bit. There's a better kink, a lot more stable, a lot less lift. The lift was a lot cleaner. It was one fluid motion versus a bunch of inputs, which is what you're looking for. Oh, that was wide. Not get a good run out of the last corner. Bummer. I'm not going to break into a 202, but it's a good time nonetheless. It was netting me some low 203s were netting me some good results in top split at night. So overall, pretty happy with that lap. So hopefully this helps. Like I said, let me know how you feel. Let me know if you think I can improve in certain areas. Yeah. All right. Thank you.